Unreal stories. Unreal stories. I hope you've enjoyed these. For me, it's a part where I get to like capture ideas and thoughts that have been historic, and I know my plan to what I'm doing with them. But unreal stories. Today I have one that's significant. And in fact, it's so real that it's so unreal that I called this person I'm going to tell you about today, who was going through another crazy situation. And it's just very relevant, and it's in the news in the last 48 hours. So as you know, I have been sharing stories. A lot of them have come from Russia and my time in Moscow in the early 90s. And this story starts there, but it comes into today. In 1993, when we moved to Moscow to start businesses, we were with a group. We formed a group called Global Options. It was an organization company that was doing work. We started an economic school. We started a marketing business. We also had some accounting training, all of those things. But we also used some of the funds and our energy, and we helped start a church just there in 1993. It was basically the Moscow, I was going to say economic school. It was basically a fellowship church, but it was just a great gathering of people, and we started it in 1993. And in our first ever, service, if you will, CNN shows up and films us, and we were on TV in America as the first church after the fall of the Soviet Union. And I'll never forget, I was playing the guitar. We had all these people, all of our team, and it was mainly our team. So the next weekend, I went and I was in charge of flyers from one area, and all of us put up flyers around town. And I went into this one grocery store and put up a flyer for our church. And we basically, thought, well, just letting people know it's around. Well, that next Sunday, this African comes in, and he's an African, big smile, comes walking in. Now this is like winter, okay, cold. He's in shorts and a short sleeve shirt, and he says, "My name is Fatorma Siafa." And we were having a hard time going, "How do you spell it? What's the name?" Fatorma, where are you from? I'm from Liberia. Why do you have shorts and what's going on? And we had lunch and we learned the story. And his story was unbelievable. In essence, he was a refugee in the former Soviet Union, in Russia, in Moscow, and we had to find out why. So we had lunch, and then we met again, and we kept hearing the story, and he told us more and more and more. And Fatorma's story goes like this, the backstory. His backstory was that he was in Liberia in 1989, 90, that time period. At 89, there was the first Liberian Civil War. And it was a guy named Charles Taylor, who was a rebel, who basically became a thug. He dominated the entire area. He forced terror, rape, murder, all of it. And Fatorma, anyone who was an intellectual, anyone with any significance, was murdered and taken out. So that happened to be Fatorma's family. His mom and dad were killed in front of him. They were shot. He had two little sisters, and they were younger. And so they came to assassinate him. And when they did, the pistol jammed. And so they pistol whipped him. And he basically got out alive, got the sisters into Ghana, into a missionary boarding school. And then for him, he had to flee the entire region. So he had found a flyer, and it basically said free education in Russia. So he makes a way, finally gets out some way, gets to Russia, only to find out that the program had dissolved, and he was stuck. He didn't have any money. He didn't have any real, food. He was, all of the Africans that were all stuck were helping support each other in these little commune dorms and different things. And they were stuck because the program had ended, and they were all trying to figure out a way to get back home. In fact, we had one friend who was so malnourished that he passed away, and he was too far gone by the time we found him. We were trying to help him, and he passed away. just didn't have enough food. Well, with Fatorma, we started helping him, and we started giving him, what little we were making, and we passed it on to him, and he was starting to get, taken care of. And then, but Fatorma, it's not about him. Fatorma is a giver. He is a liberating leader. He's a liberator, and he basically. So the next week, he even invite more. And the next week, after about a year and a half, we had like 200 Africans coming to our church. And this group of people, and we had probably 30, 40 different countries that were all in this gathering, this group. And for Fatorma, that's what he was about. And so we put him in charge of the refugees, and we gave him money. And he would, every week, he would go give money, and he would give them enough for a metro token, or he'd give them a food, and then he would keep track of it all. And he would tell us every single week what he did with the money. And we were like, we trust you. We don't care. That's great. And everyone started, coming, and they were so appreciative because they had food, and they were being, and someone started getting jobs and certain things like that. So it was a really special role that he played in the church. And so as we started watching this guy, we found out he was so responsive, and he was so trustworthy. He just had such deep character that he had so much influence. So we had graduated from this university called Oklahoma Baptist University, and so we invited our president to come visit, and he came to see us and kind of saw what we were doing and those kind of things. So it was a really cool moment, and I'll never forget. We had conversations. Robert Morris, a few of us, we started talking to the president about Fatorma, and is there a way that we can get Fatorma? Because his dream was he wanted to go to Walmart. He wanted to work for Walmart, and he wanted to go back to Liberia as a Walmart employee. And then he wanted to be a leader and serve rebuilding his country. That was his whole goal. So we get him a scholarship, and we pitched in. And over the next few years, we started paying and pitching in for him to get his college degree. And then he got a job at Walmart in Shawnee, Oklahoma. So he went from Liberia to Russia. And he had just seen, by the way, the flyer at a grocery store. That's how he knew where to go. And then he connected with us. And then he ends up in Shawnee, Oklahoma, meets a lovely African-American. Her name's KK. She's amazing. They get married. All of a sudden, he starts working for Walmart. He starts moving up the ranks of Walmart. Everywhere he went, he got the most unbelievable rankings because people wanted to work with him. They didn't have to work with him. He was such a giver. He was high support, but he would hold people accountable. And he represents the support challenge matrix. He represents everything it is about being a liberating leader, empowering people, giving opportunity, but he's for people. And so he just is the most amazing guy. And so he, after he went to Walmart, he started rising up into the leadership ranks in Walmart, and eventually is I think a regional manager somewhere in there, district manager in Philadelphia. And all of a sudden he's got 2 kids. He and KK, he's working at Walmart. He's supervising and overseeing, and just a phenomenal story. And if that was enough, you go, wow, that's so cool. To go from Liberia to being pistol whipped and almost killed, being a refugee in Russia, ending up getting married in America, and then becoming a leader inside Walmart. And eventually Walmart has several brands in Africa. Could he have gotten to Africa? He could. But he came to me and said, all that time I've been running the Chick-fil-A LeaderCast, and I've been partnering with Chick-fil-A for a number of years. And he said, I really, really want to work with a company like Chick-fil-A. I love Walmart, but I'd love to diversify a little bit. Can you make a connection? So long story short, it's hard to get into Chick-fil-A as an owner-operator. And he was vetted and went through the process. And I'll never forget, I made the introduction through a friend of mine, JT Robinson. JT passes him into the hiring, and it took a long while. And the lady who called me, she said, I've been holding you for references. I've been holding you to the very end because in my life, I have never, ever met anyone like Fatorma Siafe. Is this guy for real? I'm like, oh yeah, no, he's for real. He is an amazing, amazing human. And he ends up getting hired in Philadelphia in the hood. And in the hood, I'm at a Chick-fil-A store. He went from a Walmart manager to an owner-operator, which makes and earns more money than a district manager would. But he also has a different responsibility. Chick-fil-A's set up in a way where they invest in their people so significantly and in the community. So I went to visit him about a year ago. And when I went to visit him, I was excited to see him. And then I got there. It's in the hood. I mean, like a hood. And, I had done a lot of work in the past in urban areas and rough areas. And, I was walking in and you could see it and feel it. And he set me down. We had a meeting and we spent time together. And Fatorma says, Jeremie, I'd like for you to meet some of my people. And one after another, he asked me to pour into them. Well, they were basically encouraging me, telling me what Fatorma had done in their life. One lady was homeless, and Fatorma helped KK rehabilitate her and gave her a job, and now she's employed, and now she's bringing in other people. And this other guy was having some issues with certain skill sets, and all of a sudden, Chick-fil-A became a platform for doing good. That was the whole reason we started GiANT, by the way, was a platform. So let's let the world fund us to influence it. So by creating a platform where people could actually raise up a different type of leader. So in the case of Fatorma, I just had the privilege of being one of many people who were able to invest in him, pour into him. So I called him. Today, and I said, "Dude, are you okay? Because I've been hearing about the Philadelphia riots." He goes, "If you could see what I'm seeing right now," and he told me the story. Last night, he lost his store. His store was completely looted. His store was overwhelmed, literally, by the riots. Fatorma had to literally protect people. He watched them break in and steal the safe. Guns were everywhere. He was just lucky to survive and get out with his life. And he basically was trying to protect customers and protect all of his employees. And Fatorma, is starting again afresh. And in fact, let me show you a picture of Fatorma just so you can get a glimpse of what this amazing guy looks like. Let's see here. I had it teed up. Let me do this 1 second. I'm going to make sure that it's right here. There it is. Okay, let's try it one more time. This guy is unbelievable. This is Fatorma Siafa. So Fatorma is a leader worth following. I could get emotional telling you the story. His life and his lifestyle is one of giving, not taking. And everything got taken from him last night. Frustrating that a giver, and you know what his words were? His words were not bitterness. His words were, "My people are okay. We saved them. They were okay. We're going to be fine. It'll rebuild. It will." His attitude was amazing. But I mean, imagine if it had been you or me to watch your parents get killed, to be pistol whipped, to have to ship your sisters off, to be trying to get out and safe and find a place, only to find out that you're a refugee and the program doesn't exist, to then go and almost starve, to then try to figure out what's the future look like, how do I even exist, to then move an opportunity. I didn't tell you the story that he was in the Atlanta bombings during the Atlanta Olympics. He was right down there helping people, and he saw it was just a crazy scenario. He's just had an amazing, unreal life, but he's, at the end of the day, every single turmoil, every single issue produces perseverance and tenacity, which creates unbelievable character. And so Fatorma, if you saw him right now, he would have the biggest smile. He's got more teeth than you can. I mean, it's amazing how many teeth he has. And his teeth are so big. And he'll look at you, "Hey, Jeremie." And he is a liberator. He's my brother. He's a dear friend of mine. We do life together. He lives in one part and I live in the other, but for the rest of our life, we're friends forever. My point in telling the story is it's a real story and it's unreal, is that these are the heroes. These are the Sherpa. These are the people who give themselves away. If you want to be a person that people want to follow and not have to follow, then you have to learn to give. You have to learn to give above and beyond. You have to learn how to support. You have to learn how to challenge. You have to learn. And in that process of being a Sherpa, it's a lifestyle. It's a mindset. It's I'm fighting for the highest possible good of people. I want the best for them. And the fruit or the reward of that type of lifestyle is influence. The reward is the reward of wisdom. The reward, it's not oftentimes monetary, but it's deep in your soul that you know what you've done has been helpful and beneficial. And deep in your soul and your heart, you know that you gave yourself away for the best of other people. And with Fatorma, my friend and brother who is right in the middle of it. So if you want to pray for Fatorma Siaf and his family right now, they've had 2 nights of looting and rioting. I think they'll have another night tonight, and praying for his safety and praying for a rebuild as he steps into the next season of starting over again. So, yeah, so Caroline, how do you explain your encounter with this man? Do you call it fate, destiny, coincidence? What I call it, is actually probably more in the destiny. What I have learned to do in my whole life for the last 20 plus years is I pray for people of peace every single morning. When I turn the shower on, the shower is the indicator, it's the reminder. So I just do this thing. Sometimes it's kind of sleepy prayer, and sometimes it's really intentional, but it's, Lord, bring me the people of peace today. Who is it that you want for me today to help, to serve? Now, that's more of a spiritual side, but if you think about it, if you look for people in peace, who are the people in your life that you're supposed to help, or who are the people in your life that that really are meant to help you? And if you're looking for people to help, or maybe they're sent to help you, then you can start to understand how the process works. So for me, Fatorma is a person of peace, and I'm a person of peace to him. It's both. And so as a liberator, I'm a liberator to him, and he's a liberator to me. We fight for the highest possible good of each other. And you know what? We don't see each other a ton. We don't talk a ton. But every single time we do, it's big bear hugs, and he's a big man, and he can consume you with his smile. And so for me, it's just another example and reason of why we do this, what life and why GiANT is important, and why we train people to be 100% healthy and teach them how to multiply. Because without it, most people live accidental lives, and when you're living accidental, you miss unreal stories. If you want unreal stories in your life, be intentional. Start praying for people of peace, looking for people to help. Start giving yourself away. Start practicing the tools, and you'll start seeing these things happen over and over again.